And welcome back to the Awkward Thinking Podcast. I'm Nas, a.k.a. Stacks.
What up? I'm Vince.
And we are the Awkwardest Thinkers. Woo!
You fucking up.
I fuck up every time.
You fucking up. I'm going to have to let them go.
White people claps. White people claps.
Thank you.
And it's a safe space for weird thoughts. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Give us some motherfucking streams, you know? Yeah, first of all, how you been, man?
I've been good. I've been good, yeah.
Go ahead.
For the audience, so
Go
let
ahead.
us know. We're trying out some different backgrounds. Let us know if you fuck with the background changes and stuff, or, you know.
If not, he really hates it, and he wants us to stop, but I can't stop, won't stop.
I don't, like, necessarily hate it.
He hates it.
I just, you know, I know we can use other things than just clouds, or the clouds that he been using.
I like him.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you said you've been good, right?
Yeah, I've been good. I've been, I don't know, I've been really good. I've been
really
chilling.
good. How's the relationship going for you?
Relationship is still going smooth. I'm still happy. Yes.
You hearing wedding bells yet? No?
It's still early. It's still early. Yeah.
When do you think the idea of, like, maybe you might pop the question? And she might watch this, so we might,
I have a, like, 4-year plan. Not saying necessarily, like, that's something for us to stick to, but in my head, I feel like we at least need to be dating and in a relationship with each other for a certain amount of time before I can be like, yes, I'm going to propose. I do have, like, a time, like, we need to be at least together for 2 years. And then I feel like we need
2 years?
Yeah, at least 2 years. I feel like we need to live together for at least 1 year. And maybe during that 1 year, that can be the engagement year. And we'll be married. I mean, we'll be engaged for that 1 year while we live together. And then if things go right, we continue on with the engagement, we get married.
Do you believe in love and first sight?
Not necessarily. But one thing about my girl right now, I did, as soon as I first met her, I was like, oh, I can see this. Like, I'm like, you know,
that's
but
nice.
I wouldn't say love at first sight, but I feel like you can always see the potential with somebody.
It don't necessarily be love at first sight for me. It'd be love at first fuck. It depends. That's all that matters to me. Like, if
Love
love at first fuck, I ain't gonna lie.
I want better for you. I do. I really do want better for you. I want you to heal.
So the reason why I asked this question is because, like, what was your idea of marriage? Like, what do you like see it as to be now? You know, as an adult. Like, I know things change, and you know, you get the old vintage photos of your parents getting married, but like, what does that look like for you?
For me, marriage is like, I feel like marriage is a more serious thing than what people make it seem like it is. Like, I do see a lot of people jumping in and getting married, and then you only married for about 1 year or something. That's not what I look for. With my first marriage, I definitely want my first marriage to be my last marriage. I also want us to be married for years. I want us to be able to be like, yeah, we were married for 40, 50 years. I want my kids to be able to see, like, and not just my kids, but my grandkids to be able to see, like, okay, we got a foundation. There was something there. I don't want us to be married 40, 50 years and hate each other, though. Like, I definitely want us to be able to work throughout our whole entire relationship, those up until the moment we're both dead. Like, I want us to be able to have been able to be happy throughout most of that. Realistically, because, you know, things happen during marriage. Like, you don't always, sometimes you realize people can change. I feel like people can change throughout marriage. And so, like, the person you originally married is no longer that person anymore. And that happens to you sometimes. So I think that's something else to take into consideration when it comes to marriage. Like, right before you propose, you have to think about who this person could be in 30, 40 years, and if you're willing to accept them for the person that they'll be in 30, 40 years.
I'm so now looking into, like, living in the moment. I'm not even, like, I'd rather just have a long time girlfriend. Like, I don't think the marriage, but that's what I grew up on. You know what I mean? My grandmother and my grandfather, they just now got, like, you know, well, they didn't just now get married, but, you know, that was the thing for them. So, but the reason why I say this is because it's just like, not saying right now, the level of commitment, I can't even sustain a relationship right now. I'm not saying I'm cheating or going, but that I got to reach a whole different height of commitment. That's something I'm not necessarily ready for.
I feel like it's okay to not be ready for that because you're only 24.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting you to be like, all right, I'm ready to find the next person and, live my life out with them.
But somebody has pushed that on me though. Like I want to, and then when someone is pushing like marriage or relationship on you, it seems so fast, it seems so quick, but it's just like people just like what you said. It's we don't enjoy shit. Like, let me enjoy it. Let me just enjoy the ride of talking. Yes, we're still single and stuff like that, or we can be exclusively dating. But I feel like sometimes that we rush a lot. Oh, I want this relationship out of you. You have to, like, sometimes people not, like, I don't know why people put a time frame on relationships because, like, y'all could be talking for a year, you know what I mean, and not be in a relationship. So I personally don't feel like know the person first. Like, know the person, let it stronghold. Like, a lot of the times, like, when I said love at first fuck, it really be that. It be love at first fuck, and then it wears off, and then it be like.
So that's never love if it wears off.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that it be love at first fuck because you're like, that's what you feel like. Oh, I need to be in a relationship on how that person makes me feel at that present time or something like that, not versus the dates.
I think you just got to be able to be, and I'm not calling you immature, but you got to be mature enough to separate those two. You need to know the difference between what makes you feel good and what you find pleasure in. It's a difference from this person makes me feel good versus this person can get me to come.
But if the ever people ask that question like, oh, that's a good person, but the sex is bad. People like, ooh, I don't know. Because it's a determining factor.
Yeah, sex is important because, again, you're going to be having sex with this person for the next 40, 50 years. And I'm not saying you should...
unless you're swingers.
Yeah, but I don't think you necessarily have to throw a relationship away because the sex is back. I think now you do have to be willing to communicate and be like, yo, these are my expectations in the bedroom. How can we both get to the point where we're both feeling satisfied in the bedroom and not just feeling like, okay, I'm just here for the night, or I'm participating, but I'm not participating the way I would like to.
So, all right, so let me ask you this. So are you going to be like, so you did say you wanted to get married, right? Mm-hmm. Would you prefer a long-time girlfriend or marriage?
Definitely a marriage.
What does that sustain for you, though? What does that marriage solidify for you? If you can have the same thing with it, and not saying this is my wife.
The marriage, it just, of course, my parents were married. My grandparents were married, so I grew up on that. I grew up seeing people get married. Well, not necessarily like, not within the generation that I grew up in, but the previous generations before me, they were getting married, and I value that. So that's one of the things that, for me, I value marriage. And marriage is also like, not I want to display my love for you to the world, but I do want to get on the table, shout that, and announce like, yes, this is the woman that I love. This is the woman that I am choosing to be with for the rest of my life, type shit. That's the expectation when you get married. And it's also, I want to make sure that because we're building this family together, anything that I have goes to you and goes to my kids or whatever. And that's what marriage does too. It legally binds you that, hey, we're both saying we're going to be committed to each other, and these are the expectations of that marriage to death do us part, through sickness, through health, through all that. So when you do that, it's easier. And I feel like, I don't knock the long-term girlfriend thing, but I do think there is a level of respect that you need to have for yourself and for your partner. If you're not, I don't see the point of a long-term girlfriend or a long-term relationship when, like, a lot of times, so for me growing up in households, I seen long-time relationships become abusive. Not just become, but they're more normally abusive. Like, the people I know who are in long-term relationships, they fight. They physically fight. They talk bad about each other.
You can do that with a fucking wife.
And you can do that with a wife. You can do that with a wife. But what I'm saying is, with that there's no structure there with the long-term boyfriend girlfriend thing. There's no structure there. There's no real claim to anything. And I'm not saying that, like, that's just like how when you grow up and you see that, yeah, that's uncle such and such or whatever, but at any time, shit, that nigga could be gone. Like, you're
Explain
not solidified.
That a little bit more, because I'm having a hard time catching what you saying.
Okay, so me, I know I got a couple uncles who are they're long term. Like they're in a long term relationship, but they're like they're easily replaceable. So like one of the uncles, or okay,
Are you talking about I grew up on uncles that wasn't my uncles, but they was just with my
and that's what I mean
for a long time. You feel me?
But I know, like one of my aunts, I know I got two uncles.
Oh.
So from her, so it's like, oh, this is Uncle such and such, and then this is Uncle such and such. And as a kid, that can be very confusing. It's like, what's happening here? And it's also, I'm watching y'all physically fight and everything. I'm not watching too much of people, and I'm not saying it does not happen in marriages, because of course it does. But I feel like when you open yourself up to a long-term relationship, you open yourself to long-term suffering. It's always the cheating, it's always the abuse, it's always an issue. And it's also, if you love me and you really do love me and you see something within each other, why not commit to that? Why not say let's commit and let's solidify this bond? And I'm not saying you got to go out and have a big fancy ass wedding or anything, but why not? Even if you don't put it on paper, I'm not saying you got to even put it on paper, but to not signify, this is we're bonding to each other. This is what we've chosen to do, and we are committed to each other. People don't do that.
I mean, I don't see it right now at the age of 24.
But you 24.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. But even with being 24, I know that I have some white coworkers that be like, all right, I'm 22 right now, and I expect to be married by 25. You know what I mean? Like, in that's not saying that's in their culture, they do marry young as fuck.
They do.
So it's like some girls, she was like, yeah, like some of my friends in high school got married at like 18, 19, X, Y, and Z. So my thing is just like, well, what you said, they do grow resentment. You grow resentment, and it's a lot of failed marriages more than successful marriages out here. So it's just like, number one, it's a lot of papers, it's a lot of paperwork, and a lot of, in case of prenups. And then when you get in the case, are you willing to sign a prenup if that is a thing?
I'm not in a position where I feel like a prenup is necessary right now.
All right, so that means when you get in that position that a prenup is necessary, are you going to sign a prenup? So right now, I expect for my current partner to be like my last partner. Like that's where I'm at in my head right now. Okay.
So knowing the person that I know, more than likely I am going to be able to grow with this person and get to a point where when the prenup comes around, she would have already been around for the growth and everything else. So no,
that
for me,
doesn't matter. That's not what I'm saying.
Listen,
for you,
I'm telling you why it matters.
Okay, go ahead.
If she's already been around for all the growth, everything, and she's got me to this point, I'm not going to turn around to you and say, I need you to sign this prenup.
That doesn't even make you're saying that you got yourself to that point. It doesn't.
Yes, and I
she
did.
Just may have been for the fucking ride, but like I'm saying to you, if in case shit goes sour, she shows some type of spiteful, some resentment later down that road, because you said a lot of people do grow. Some people
change up.
They do change up. So in the instance, if you're looking at the longevity of whatever, even to let's say you do have kids with this person, and that person becomes selfish. I'm not talking about your current situation, but I'm saying that person becomes selfish and they don't want to leave shit for your kids or anything like that, and they take all the money that you worked for. Are you thinking, all right, love right now, I'm gonna be with this person, whatever, I'm willing to go broke or whatever the case may be. All my hard work that I put in to get my family out of the situation, you're not signing that prenup.
I would not be in a situation, so that's the thing that you gotta ask yourself. What kind of situation would you put yourself in?
You don't know that though.
Just
go ahead.
What kind of situation did you put yourself in to not make her become like this, but to, if we're getting into a situation where there's a divorce comes up, and you literally would have to, I would have had to cheat it, and that's not in my character. So that's not something that I necessarily.
You know what? Necessarily have to cheat for a divorce to happen.
In order for her to get my money, I have to be in the wrong. Okay. I have to be in the wrong, or we would have had to spend 20 years, at least 20 years together, or some shit for that to be, for her to have a claim to anything that I got. So in that instance, if I am in the wrong, or like I would need to be in the wrong in order for her to claim possession over anything that I have. But again, I'm hoping that by us being right where we're at right now, I'm not like not poor or nothing, but I'm not like in a position to be like
right now. But
listen,
go ahead. I'm listening.
I'm not in a position to be like, yo, I'm going to need a prenup. And right now, we are both in a position where we can grow with each other. So by the time marriage comes along, I should already feel secure enough in you as being my partner that I should not have to require a prenup out of you. At this point, we both should have already been building amongst of what we already have. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying tomorrow we get $50 million. Yeah, that'd be a little different. I got to take into consideration some things. But if the way that we're going, it's a steady incline. And I feel like as long as she's there, as long as like you are doing everything that a partner is supposed to do and we are both reciprocating that to each other, I shouldn't have to worry about you being greedy over money later on in the future. Especially that's not even your personality right now.
Okay. I mean, I just my person like my views at 24 years old. I'm signing a prenup. And I wish a lot of success in my life. I wish a lot of, and I'm not saying it's not for your case, but for my case, I'm signing that prenup because even if I die before my parent, I would like to leave her something. You know what I mean? And sometimes people don't. But you can
always put that in a will.
But sometimes people don't always honor the will. That's my thing.
It's a legal binding contract. This is my expectations for where I want my money to go to. And then again,
but if let's say that happens or whatever, we in a divorce or whatever, and she takes all my money, I have nothing to leave someone else. That's what I'm saying to you.
First off, you're saying you're not even in the place to look at marriage right now, right?
Yeah, of course. So, but in case I was, I'm signing that prenup. I ain't gonna lie. Whether she feel like, oh, you don't love me, I don't give a fuck. I worked hard as fuck.
I don't knock you for being like, yo, I'm gonna want to sign a prenup. That's because that's like something that you want to do, like that, and that's the thing that needs to just be accepted. For you, a prenup is the road that you want to go down. For me, it's not necessarily something that I feel like is a necessity right now. It's not a necessity in the future with my current partner right now.
Okay.
But I don't, the concept of a long-term relationship to me is kind of like, I feel like you say you're open to a long-term relationship, but there's commitment in that long-term relationship. I feel like.
Yeah, but you still, I feel like, yes, it's commitment to that long-term relationship and that's fine, but it's just like, I wish kind of me personally, I did some more research on it, just to say like, why do it doesn't matter. Like I can call somebody my wife without even putting a ring on her fucking finger. I can do all like it's names and titles to shit that we put on to need and latch on to say this is mine. I can say this is mine. I can do everything in the fucking book without putting a fucking ring or getting on my knees or whatever the case may be to say, oh, I'm marrying this woman. This is the woman for me. That does nothing for me. It does nothing.
It does something for her. So listen, and you, because at the same time, if something goes on and something happens to her, now anything that it comes back to you, basically. The same way, if something happened to you, your shit would go to her if y'all were married. If something happens to her, it should come to you. By law or by whatever she set up, it should be coming to you and your family. I just feel like, especially once I've had kids, I'm not saying that just because we have kids together, you need to be my wife, but I'm hoping that if we are talking about having kids and stuff, that ring does have to come first. That the prospect of marriage has to come first because I want to make sure I'm correct and in my right mind before I have kids with you. I want to make sure that me and you are able to do this thing for a long time before we have kids with each other. So I know what kind of person I'm getting in bed to or getting in bed with. So I know what kind of person is going to raise my kids. So I know what kind of person is going to be there if I'm gone. I need to know all these things about you. And I do, of course, want to marry you at some point so that if anything happens legally, you are taken care of. My kids are taken care of. I want all y'all to feel, and it's also, I don't get the idea of like having somebody wait around for you. Like, because that, to me, that's what it does. If you, if you are in a relationship for 10 years with one person, why not get married? I don't understand why not get married.
Why get married?
But
Why get married?
Answer me. I explained why to get married. I explained the legal aspects of it and everything. I explained. Now explain to me, besides just wanting access to other people, why not get married?
It's not even access to other people. It's just like, what does that validate? For me, it's just, what does that validate? If I'm already doing these things, these responsibilities, whether I get what you want me to get, you can do a will, you can do whatever. Why does that valid? What does marriage even? I understand that, you know, jumping the broom and everything is that's important. You know what I mean? But it doesn't signify nothing. In my young 24 mind, it doesn't signify nothing to genuine value for me. That's how I look at it. So I'd rather have a long-term girlfriend. Not saying that it doesn't, because if we're spiritually bonding, what does me saying, oh, I got legal papers, if I'm doing every single responsibility that I'm doing without in marriage? I can call you my wife without putting a ring on your finger. I can do all the same things that you're saying. I can give you anything I want to give you in my will and when I die. So it's nothing anything is important to just say, oh, I just really extremely love this fucking person.
The other thing is too, is like, let's say you're in the hospital and something happens to you. And now your wife has to come in and be like, yo, y'all, your wife doesn't have a say-so legally. If she comes into the hospital and says, oh, I'm his baby mama or I'm his girlfriend for 10 years, she doesn't have a say-so. She has nothing to be like, yo, I am attached to this man. There's nothing there for her. So you lying in the hospital, you in a coma or some shit, and your cousin who got your shit is saying, oh, well, I'll just take him off the ventilator. And she's saying, no, I know he'll push through this. But because you don't have any attachment to this woman, nothing to say, okay, yes, we are bonded together, this is like what we are, she doesn't have a say-so. So now your cousin unplugging your ass and taking your money because you want a long-term girlfriend. And I just feel like the idea of a long-term girlfriend is like a very selfish concept. Because it's like, it's not one of them things where it's like, you're not asking, okay, why shouldn't I marry her? Because to me, that would be the thing. I would be asking, why am I not good enough to be married to you? Why wouldn't you want to marry me? You're basically saying, oh, I just don't want to do it because it's a piece of paper. If it's just a piece of paper, why not do it? If it's just a piece of paper, why not do it? Why not sign it?
Because I don't fucking want to, nigga.
Exactly. And so I would feel so sorry for your partner to hear, oh, I don't want to get married to you because basically I already got everything. I got the cow. I don't fucking need to. I'm getting the milk from the cow already. I don't need to buy the cow.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
I got it.
So what if your girl wants marriage?
I'm living a bachelor life right now. I can't.
No, we're not talking about right now. We're talking about in the future.
In the future, if my girl wants to get married, I would get married.
So how many women do you know are out here saying, oh, I really don't want to get married, and are saying that from a place of actual contempt and I truly just don't want to be married. I don't want to be attached. Because the women I know who are saying they don't want to be married, don't want to be attached to a man either. But you're not going to find a woman who's like, oh, yeah, I'll put up with a 10-year relationship and she be in her stable fucking mind. There's not a woman, and even men, men will do it just to have the option to have open access to anybody else. But you're not going to find a woman who's like, yeah, I'm willing to be 100% committed to this person for 10 years of my life, and this nigga isn't willing to say yes in front of a crowd of people or at least
now.
And I'm saying it does, but ask how many of them people in their right mind. Ask how many people.
Who's ever in their right mind? Who's ever in their right mind?
I feel like if you can go a whole 10 years and let a motherfucker just be with you and not commit to you and not say, okay, like, yeah, this is something I see a future. Because to me, that's what marriage also signifies. It's like, I see a future with you and I see something there that we can build on. And it's like Game of Thrones. I want to join our houses together so that both of our shit, our names and everything can flourish on with our children, our grandchildren, all that. You combine it so it's more. And then it's like, you got to file that shit on taxes too. Yeah, I'm living. You got a roommate at that point. This your fucking roommate.
And I love the fuck out my
And
roommate.
then what about your kids?
You my roommate. I love you. Go ahead.
What about your kids? Like, to me, I don't want my kids to grow up being like, yo, why you never married mom? Oh, I love her, and piece of paper, and never show that.
My kids ain't gonna ask that. My kids ain't gonna ask that because
they gonna ask that. Oh, I love her, and a piece of paper don't show that I love her. But my friends at school, their parents is married. They be talking about y'all.
They dumb as fuck, son. They dumb as shit. Cause she don't even love him. She cheating with the pool man right now.
So my question is this then.
Go ahead.
Why are you against marriage?
I don't know. I'm really just against marriage because it's just like I look at a lot of the negative with it, and then it just doesn't sit right with me. Just being I don't know. Like I can be fully committed. Like I know I can be fully committed, but like I said, like I can't even see that right now. Like I can't see marriage with somebody. Like, not saying like fucking around fills my soul, because it doesn't. But I'm just saying like right now I can't. I'm not trying to worry about nobody else right now. And that's how I look at it. And it's not. I've seen more. You've probably seen a positive outlook on marriage. I've seen more negative output growing up with marriage. I've seen you wearing a wedding ring, but y'all not together. But y'all too lazy to get the divorce, but you still doing your thing, or it's shaky now. Your aunt got to live with y'all for a little bit because I seen too much of that shit. So I personally
don't think that happens. In a long-term relationship?
It happens in a long-term relationship. That's why I'm saying either or. The marriage shit doesn't matter. It's just a fucking name, but it's by law. And you said if I was on a respirator and shit, she had to say so. I don't know. I don't know how times change. You can be in love for the first 5 years, and the next 5 years could be fucking hell. And then that motherfucker could be spiteful. Now that motherfucker has control of your life and however you see fit, or whatever the case is.
I feel like if you are communicating, if you are doing what you're supposed to be doing in a relationship, I feel like it should never get to that point.
You never can tell it, because you're trying to paint this like perfect. Oh, you can communicate and you can do that. Even
communication
with kids,
is not a perfect thing. That's not that's not something that's just like, okay, we're communicating, and because we communicate, there's no like nobody feelings is getting hurt, or is nobody this and that. That's not what communication is. Communication is just me loving you enough to say, yo, I'm not okay with this. I'm not really comfortable with that. I didn't like how you did this. Me and you communicate all the time, especially when we don't like something that the other person did. And it can be awkward at times. And then we move past it. It's not always going to be a beautiful thing. It's not, and that's the thing with marriage. It's not about it being a beautiful thing or this easy breezy sunny day. It's about being like, okay, I love you enough that I'm willing to work through any and everything with you. But to an extent, because I'm not the cheating and shit. I'm not for that, all that dumb shit. But anything else, our relationship, anything that we can work on and build on, I'm willing to go through that with you in our relationship and commit to you enough to say, yes, I'm willing to deal with that. Because then in a long-term relationship, when you get to that point where it's like, oh, she nags a little too much, yeah, you can walk away at any time. But in that marriage, you go be like, yo, she nagged and I feel it straining our marriage. It's time for us to sit down, talk, and communicate and understand why the nagging has happened and what we can do to solve it and to eliminate the nagging so that our relationship can continue to flourish. It's that commitment piece that you bring in and you say to each other, yes, we're willing to put in the extra work, the extra effort to make this thing last as long as possible. And not just last, because I'm not a person who believes in just allowing a marriage to go on if the marriage is failed. But at least you can get to a point, maybe 3 years in that marriage, where it's like, damn, we thought we loved each other, and we do love each other, but we both are. I see us changing into different people. Our lives have brought us to a place where we're no longer on that same road together. We are diverging a little bit, but let's end this in a respectable way where it's like, with a long-term relationship, shit, all you got to do is walk away.
How long do you want to enjoy your marriage until you have kids?
I do want to enjoy my marriage for a few years. I want to not just enjoy my marriage, but my own life. Like right now, even I'm 26. I just turned 26. I have not been able to what I feel like fully live my life in the fullest capacity just yet. And I definitely want to be able to do that before I have kids. I've seen a lot of people who have kids really early on, or they have kids and they have kids before they're ready to actually have them. I want to be able to I want to travel more. I want to travel and do irresponsible shit. I don't want to have to, I want to not have to worry about how I manage my money because I got this kid that I got to worry about. A kid is a whole nother person and it's a serious thing. This is a whole nother person I have to take care of. I got to make sure they're always straight. I literally got to put them first. So I want to do that for myself. For I want to be able to do that for myself for as long as possible. Put me and my wife first, or put me and my girl first until she becomes my wife. Mm-hmm. And then, yes, at a certain age when we both are like, we've had fun and we've been able to enjoy ourselves together with just us first, yeah, we can bring in the kid aspect. I would say maybe 2-3 years after being married, we can bring up the kid situation. Well, I know, and we both know that we want kids, but it would be 2-3 years after we're married. That way, like you said, you want to be able to enjoy your marriage. I do want to be able to go around and be like, yo, this is my wife, not just the mother of my kids yet, but this is my wife. I'm still very happy within our relationship. We didn't need a kid to, spice it up or to make us bond or commit over something. Because I think people do that. They do have kids, and it helps you bond. But a kid is more so like, oh, we got something that we both need to be on the same page about. So that's that connection. That's that bonding that you feel. It's just that response. It's a joint responsibility.
Some people need that though.
No,
some people need
you
that.
don't, because that's not fair to that kid. Don't bring a kid. Please do not have a kid just for the sake of working out your marriage. That's not fair to a kid at all.
Of course, I know it's not working out your marriage, but sometimes people need that joy in their life to spark some new
Get a
love.
dog.
A dog don't hit the same.
Listen,
a dog don't do dumb shit.
Don't. A kid should not be your thing, and I feel like it's a selfish mindset, because a kid should not be your spark of love, your little, we're going to bring it. Because what happens when that kid die? Like if you have a miscarriage or something, what happens once something happens to that kid? And those things are really unfortunate things, but those things really do happen. So at that point, what happens to your relationship? Because you cannot build that. Your relationship needs to be built on the love that you have for each other, not on the love that you have for something else that you got to share. Because then co-parent. Don't have a kid to save your marriage. Literally, that is the dumbest thing ever. That's not how a marriage works. You need to figure it out, because all you doing is masking the issues. You're going to get that kid, and because now we have a kid, we're so busy on trying to make sure this kid is okay, making sure this kid is great, that no, we're not paying attention to the underlying issues. But as we grow, there's a lot of resentment toward each other because, hey, we still never worked out our actual issues, and now we're so busy with this fucking kid that we can't work through our issues, or we don't have the time, and because we're not working on our issues, we don't see it. It's right there in the corner of your eye, but it's always there. But you never see the actual issue. But that shit wear on you. And now your marriage, you're getting divorced, and your fucking kid gotta watch you get divorced. And I'm not saying don't stick together. Even if you got a kid and you brought that kid in with love, and it was one of them things that was like, oh, we want to make our family bigger. If you get to a point and you realize you and your partner are not healthy for each other anymore, separate. It's not fair for the kid. Do not put the kid, or don't say, I'm going to stick through this for my kid. Fuck the kid. You stick through it for your marriage, or you work through it for your marriage. But if the shit is no longer working, leave. Kids don't need to grow up in a household and watch their parents argue every day or be into it every day because they no longer love each other but are still committed because of that kid. Kids know that. They're only here because of me, which isn't fair to me, because now I feel responsibility for y'all hatred toward each other, because I know you're only sticking around because of me. And I've seen and I've talked to kids who've watched their parents be together and not be good for each other and say, I wish he would just leave my mom. Why won't he just leave? Why won't they just separate? Because y'all are becoming so toxic that it's coming on to me, and now I can't be a kid. I got to be responsible for you two.
Mm-hmm. So my thing is, so since you even being responsible, what about being a stepdad?
I don't think like I said, I'm 26. I'm not for real, I'm still young. I'm not trying to start a family right now. So I'm not in a position where I feel like I can be a stepdad. That's not a job for me. I also feel like being a stepdad is a huge, huge responsibility. That's not something that you just be like, oh, I'm gonna just take on. Like, that's even when you dating. That's like dating a woman with a kid. You got to be conscious of that. Like I try to be conscious when I'm dating. I'm not dating anybody with kids because I know right now I don't want a kid right now. And knowing that I don't want a kid right now, it's not fair for me to start dating you and then be around that kid, showing that kid love and shit, and then boom, dipping out of their life 6 months from now because our relationship didn't work.
That's not on you, but
it is.
What I will say is, even on the non like stepdad marriage level or some shit like that. Number one, I cannot be a fucking a stepdad,
Mm-hmm.
but I can at the same time though. Like, I don't know. That's hard. That's a hard responsibility because you have to love. Number one, it doesn't just with loving somebody else's kid. A baby father does come into play. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then it's like, even if you're treating that kid so good, kids are very spiteful, and you don't treat me like Mr. whatever the case may be, he's going to feel some type of like, what the fuck I don't want this person around my kid no more, just because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So I just think I personally couldn't be a stepfather, but even with the girls that are dating, like, number one, I don't want to be on FaceTime, you doing all this freaky shit, then you be like, hey, say what's up to whatever, Mr. Whatever. Like, I don't want to see that. Why you show me a titty, then you show me your kid? I don't want to necessarily, like, that's not nothing that excites me. Like, this, you showing me, oh, what it could be, I'm gonna show you what it's not gonna be, type shit like that.
And that's why you got to be real with yourself and be like, okay, that's not what I want. And also, as a person, when you do have kids and you are dating, because I'm not saying people who have kids need to stop dating or anything, but you got to be conscious of the partner that you choose. Because again, you're introducing this person to your kid, and you not necessarily introducing them the first week that you meet this person. But I would say you need to be dating this person for at least a few months before you do the introduction with the kid. And if you somebody with a fucking kid, it's not that person's responsibility to pay for a babysitter or to go pick up McDonald's and shit for your kid who's at home. Cause why didn't you cook? I'm a look at you like I'm so serious. If you hit me up and you say, oh, my kid is at home and I'm pulling up 5 minutes from now, and you like, oh, well, grab some McDonald's because my kids are at home, and if you taking me on a date, they need to eat too. I will drive right past your shit. Don't send me nothing like that. Don't say no shit like that to me. Cause why didn't you cook your kids a meal before you came on this date? Why didn't you already set up a meal for them to already have? That's a red flag to me. I don't want to be with a person who feels like, especially early on, your kid is my responsibility. Yes, eventually the kid will be part of my responsibility, but you do not force that onto a person, because that's going to make me be like, you're looking for a provider, and I don't knock you looking for a provider, but you're looking for a provider right out the gate. I'm looking for someone to get to know. I'm looking for someone to build a relationship with. I got to build that relationship with you first, not your kids. You want a nigga to take care of your kids, or even like dudes will do that. Yo, you want to come over? Can you babysit my fucking kid?
You know what a girl told me, and it was just like, it threw me the fuck off. She was like, you need to Cause you know D4 has a baby and shit like that. So she was like, oh, you need to get Jude. That's what I call it. You need to get Jude so we can go on a little date. I'm like, I'm not pretending to be no fucking family. Like, I don't know why that's a thing. Like, women wanting to pretend like, even if it's not even your kid, it's your niece or nephew, and y'all want to play fucking family like what it could. No, get the fuck, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can see. I don't knock the wanting to see how a person interacts with kids and wanting to see how a person can be in a family setting, but that's not something for our first date. That's not something for a second date. That is not something, if we don't even have kids right now, that is not something that you try to encourage, because I'm gonna look at you weird. Why are you're skipping steps? And a lot of people do skip steps. That'd be
if I take you home to Thanksgiving, you want to see how I interact with kids, you can see how I act with my little cousins or some shit like that. That's the only time you want to see, but we not going to play house or anything of that nature. It's just for the satisfaction of like, oh, he's so great with kids. Get the please. No.
I'm just the stepfather thing is a huge responsibility. It's a lot of things that you gotta take into consideration with that. You also gotta take into consideration the relationship that kid has with their father, and not just the relationship that the kid has with their father, but the mother has with their father, or even because it'd be baby daddies out here too. So it's like you gotta take into consideration all of that. Is she gonna still be fucking this nigga? Because that's something I'm gonna always have to think about. Y'all got a kid together. Is she still gonna be fucking this nigga?
Because the baby moms love fucking the baby dads.
And then a lot of times I see a lot of y'all be so fresh. You just had the baby and you are trying to start a relationship. No. Get to know that fucking baby. Let that baby know you. Y'all sit in y'all silence for a while. Mm-hmm. You don't. And I'm not saying it doesn't help to have a partner. I truly do know that it helps to have a partner. But you put yourself in some weird ass predicaments when you just rushing niggas into your relationship and into your family. Why are you especially if I had a kid and I just knew like, yo, my kid is 2 months old or some shit, and my baby mama laid up and got another man in the bed with my kid, that's gonna bother me to a different kind of point. And I'm not saying she's not allowed to date because that's my baby mama or something, but not when my kid is that young. I don't want to. I want to make sure my kid is always safe. Always. I want to make sure my kid is always good. I don't want to ever think about, okay, yeah, you got a nigga in the bed with my kid. Like, y'all laid up as a family. And I don't even mind later years down the road a person being a stepfather to my kid. Like, let's say the relationship didn't work out, you separate. I don't mind that. I don't mind another man being like, yo, I do want to step up, because you're not stepping up. Well, you are stepping up. You stepping up because this isn't your kid. But I don't mind that co-parenting aspect. I don't mind for my kid to have more than one father figure. I'll never be a Future and another nigga be a Russell Wilson to my kid, though. Mm-hmm. You'll never see that. But I wouldn't mind for my kid to have two Russell Wilsons. If you go be a good person to my kid, do that. That's fine for me. But I do think there are respect levels. Sometimes y'all rush into a relationship and you got a fucking newborn. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's a red flag that your mind isn't in the right place. Stop trying to build. Y'all be trying to build families or you'd be trying to put together a family instead of building one. Get to know a person and let that person get to know you. I just think it's inappropriate.
My last question before we wrap everything up. Do you think you can love somebody else's kids? Even if you do take, like, say if you like are the stepdad, do you feel like you can love something even if you never have another kid with this person?
I think I could, because I love my nieces and nephews in a way, and of course that might be just a familiar bond, but I love them in a way as if they were my own kids.
But that's your blood, actually.
And it is. I mean? That's why I said the familiar bond. Mm-hmm. I get that, but I do think it's possible to love another kid and a kid, because like I work with kids right now, mm-hmm. and there are some kids that I do genuinely love, and I want the best for you, and I want you to be protected, and not necessarily as a father figure. I look at, I'm Uncle Vince to you,
right? So
I can love a kid who's not mine. I do think I can do that. I don't think that would be a problem. I do think the issues do come in again when if you don't got your shit settled, you need to have your shit settled so there's no confliction with me being able to love the kid. But with anything, like I don't ever want to feel weird, because shit can sometimes be weird. Yeah, I don't ever want to feel weird. I don't ever want to be in a position. Don't put me in a position either where I'm a father figure and then you try to take that away from me, because that's gonna hurt, and that's gonna be one of them things that's gonna be like, yo, I might have to step back and this or whatever, because sometimes you'll have people who. Yeah, I do, I'm looking for somebody and I do need a father figure for my kid, and then you get that and I'm parenting and you're coming in and you're stopping me from parenting. And I do. There are certain levels of parenting that you can go to. I'm not a fan of like, oh, I'm gonna just whoop somebody else's kid. Oh, I am. I'll whoop a kid. But in that situation, that's something that we would all three of us, me and you as the mother, or matter of fact, all four of us, me and you as the mother, me and your baby daddy as the fathers, and me and your kid as kid to parent. There would need to be an understanding of, I'm not your daddy. I'm not trying to replace your father. I'm not trying to do nothing like that. But I am willing to come in, step up, and do my part as a father figure and love you as if I was your father. But I'm not coming in trying to come into your house and take over. And I'm not trying to do your job. I'm not trying to like replace you. Mm-hmm. But when you're not here, yes, I will be that father figure for your kid. When I'm not there, be that father figure for them, or however it go. But there is like, it just needs to be communication, because I'm gonna expect to be able to be like, yo, sit the fuck down, sit down, and it is okay for certain people, because if you don't, I try not to cuss at kids, because I do feel like you should not cuss at kids. But sometimes I grew up in a household using cuss words. Sit the hell down, sit the fuck down, be quiet, all that. So sometimes that does come out. And that, let's say you, as the child's actual parent, you might not want people cussing at your kids. And that'll just be something I have to respect. You might not want people whooping your kids. And that'll be something that I have to respect. But then with some of those boundaries, I have to be able to be like, am I willing to accept that? And if I can't accept that, then I have to walk away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can love somebody else's kid. But I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's just like we got to be locked in and shit like that. I don't really like to get into too much politics with the baby dad, because there'll be a bunch of bullshit underlined under that. But like I said, as far as the kid wise, I think I can love. I can attach myself to the kid and love that kid just as much as my own. Now it might get tricky when I have my own kid with that person.
Why?
And the reason why I say it might get a little tricky is just because like it becomes a different love. You know what I mean? Like I sometimes I see like people won't notice it, but like I used to could tell like who, like when kids had their stepdad, like all right, this is this person's kid, but the care is a little different. Like I see the care is a little bit different than certain aspects.
I feel like if that's noticeable, then you're doing a poor job as a parent on both ends. And I've seen that too, but I've also seen, like I said, my cousin. I've seen him raise both of my, and I call them nephews because that's like my brother. I've seen him raise both of them and not do no splitting between them. Not do no like, oh, you're separate but equal type shit. None of that. These are both my sons. He addresses everybody when these are my sons. And him and the mother aren't even together, but that's his brother. I took care of him at one point. I took care of him. So that's why I do believe, and even with my father, I don't share the same father as all of my siblings. Four of my siblings, we don't have the same father. But I watched my father grow up, and again, up until a certain point, I never knew we had different parents. I never knew we didn't share the same father, because it was always, these are my kids. Anything happen, he's outside for his kids. He's providing for his kids. It was never, oh, I'm gonna only do a lot for this one and not for that one. That's I feel like that's an issue. It's an issue. Don't do, and I've seen that. Like I said, I've seen that, and I'm not a fan of that, because kids see that. Like you said, as a kid, I peeped that. It's not okay to separate those two. And if you're a person who knows, like, all right, I'm not going to be able to love that kid as much as I love my own, don't be with them then. Go start your own family. That's what you got to do that. And then you got to put yourself in the mindset of, what if my kid becomes that? What if my kid needs a step parent? I want the step parent to come in, or my partner to come in and love my kid just as much as I would love, or just as much as they would love their own kid. I don't want to see no difference because that'll bother me. It's gonna bother me as a partner. I'm noticing, yo, you treat my kid a little different, and I'm gonna have to say my kid. And once I have to say that, that's gonna bother me because I'm gonna have to say, yo, you treat little Vince different than you treat little Mike. Mm-hmm. What's going on? Why are you doing that? Oh, I'm just why are you not very protective over him?
Right.
What's the difference? And that's why you got to be mature when you step into those situations.
Well, with that being said, it's about that time where we leave you with a positive message to get through the week. Vince, what is your positive message to get through the week?
Halloween is gonna pass by the time y'all see this episode. It would have been already gone. But I'm just real disappointed in seeing a lot of y'all dress y'all kids up as singers and fucking rap artists and shit instead of dressing your kid up as Spider-Man or Batman. I feel like y'all are stealing a lot of joy and a lot of childhood innocence away from kids when y'all do shit like that. And I feel like it's weird because it's like, I just seen Kim Kardashian post all her kids as icons. In my head, it made me feel a little sick because I feel like you had black kids just so you can do this. Like just so you can post these, like just so you can do shit like this. Oh, I want them to be the next Aaliyah. I want them to have this kind of skin tone. Like it's like I kind of do feel like, and again, I don't know that fucking woman. I've never met the woman. Mm-hmm. I don't know her personally or nothing like that. But it just feel like you had black kids, or you kind of like build a fucking kid. And I feel like sometimes y'all do that with kids. Y'all, I'ma just, you have a kid and you just treat this kid like they're a fucking toy or something, and you dress it up how you want it. Oh, I want my kid to have this kind of look. Let that fucking kid be a kid, bro. Kids don't even wear sandals no more, flip-flops no more. You got these fucking kids in Air Jordans and $100 pairs of shoes that they're gonna grow out of in 3 months, or shit that you can't even afford. Not Kim, because of course she got the money, but
I'm about to say,
but as far as like us on the basic level, y'all are doing shit for y'all kids that I feel like it's not for your kids, it's for you and it's for your satisfaction. Keep your kids off social media. That's not the fucking place for your kids. Stop posting them on social media. It's pedophiles and everything else on there. And I get the idea of wanting to have a whole timeline of from them being young. Oh, bitch, buy a camcorder or whatever. Go get those pictures and save them. Buy a photo album. I feel like we have lost that within this these last 2 generations. We don't get to see ourselves grow up as much anymore, and we just lost a lot of innocence as kids, I feel like. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when y'all take that away from kids because you're trying to push on to them what you want, and that's not what a kid is for. That's it.
Wow, that was a lot. That was so beautiful.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
I just be coming on to the show.
Really, my positive message is this. Ladies. Stop with the freaky FaceTime and showing your kid on the side of you. I don't need to see. I don't need to talk to you all this freaky nasty shit, and then little John is on the right beside you. Either he sleep or whatever the case may be, or you telling me to say hi. Stop this shit. I'm not trying to have no family right now. I'm just trying to beat Doonies down. So that's my positive fucking message for the week. With that being said, I'm Nas.
Vince, make sure you.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you found something in this video that you really liked, one of our topics, let us know about it. Leave a comment so we know that you're watching. And again, thank you for supporting always.
Thank you for being awkward. See you next week. White people claps.